The NFL is in turmoil, and Falcons Nation is right in the middle of it all. The whispers are getting louder, the rumors are turning into debates, and every Atlanta Falcons fan is wondering about the matter, and I'm going to break it down for you in detail. So hit that like button and follow along for the scoop. Could there be a world where superstar cornerback Jalen Ramsey ends up in the black and red uniform? This isn't your average offseason rumor. This has the potential to shake the foundations of the Falcons' defense. Or does it? Let's get right to the heart of the matter. The Miami Dolphins are reportedly considering parting ways with Jalen Ramsey. Yes, the same Jalen Ramsey they signed to a 3-year contract less than a year ago, making him the highest-paid cornerback in the NFL at the time. NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe dropped the bombshell, saying, "Relationships are hard, and the relationship between the Dolphins and Ramsey is simply over." How can a relationship that has just begun, and hasn't even been around for a year, suddenly come to an end? Falcons fans, this is where it gets wild. This isn't like a long-tenured player overstaying his welcome. Ramsey hasn't even played a single season on that extension. Something smells off, and honestly, it raises serious questions. Is this about locker room friction? Attitude issues? Was he showing up late to meetings? Giving less than 100% in preparation? None of it adds up because, truthfully, he looked great on the field last season. He was every bit the elite corner we know him to be. So, why are the Dolphins looking to cut ties now? The Falcons have entered the conversation, and here's why. Wolf reports that Ramsey has specific teams he's interested in, teams with coaching connections he respects and trusts. One name that jumps out instantly, Raheem Morris, now head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Remember, Morris was the defensive coordinator in Los Angeles when Ramsey had arguably the best season of his career, helping the Rams capture a Super Bowl. That bond between player and coach is real. You don't just forget the guy who helped you hit the pinnacle of your career. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's the elephant in the room, the money. The Dolphins have a huge financial incentive to wait until after June 1st to make any move. Trading Ramsey before June 1st would hammer their cap space. Post June 1, though, the dead cap hit drops by a jaw-dropping $19 million. The savings aren't erased, they just push that money into 2026 instead. In short, Ramsey isn't going anywhere until after that date. The clock is ticking, but slowly. Now, let's talk about the Atlanta depth chart. And this is where the plot thickens. The Falcons have been busy, very busy, this offseason shoring up their secondary. They locked in Mike Hughes with a 3-year deal. Dalford got re-signed. Rookie Billy Bowman is being converted to nickel. Then there's Kobe Bryant, an undrafted free agent turning heads in camp. Plus, Mike Ford joined the squad. And it doesn't stop there. The Falcons added not one, but 2 defensive backs in the draft. This is a front office that has invested heavily in the cornerback position already. So here's the million-dollar question. If you're Terry Fontenot, the Falcons' general manager, do you risk undermining all those recent moves by going after Ramsey? It's a legitimate concern. Bringing Ramsey in, while he's undoubtedly a top-tier talent, would send a message: we don't fully trust the guys we just paid or drafted. That's a harsh reality for a front office trying to build a sustainable, cohesive roster. And let's not forget the conversation about moving Ramsey to safety as he gets older. Some are floating the idea, given his experience and intelligence on the field. But again, pump the brakes. The Falcons just invested in Xavier Woods during the draft, moving up to grab him. They also signed Jordan Fuller, and of course, Jesse Bates, the anchor of the secondary, remains the centerpiece. Shifting Ramsey to safety could potentially block Woods from meaningful snaps in his rookie year, which makes little sense when you've already given up valuable draft capital to get him. All this leads to one conclusion that feels more grounded than the Twitter rumors and Reddit speculation: the odds of Ramsey landing in Atlanta? Slim. Pre-draft? Maybe there was a path. But now, after the investments in Bowman and Watts, the fit just doesn't line up as cleanly. It's not about talent, Ramsey's still that dude. It's about timing, money, and roster construction. And if you ask me, the likely destination for Ramsey seems pretty poetic: a return to Los Angeles. Back to the Rams, back to Sean McVay, back to the system where he thrived. It makes sense both financially and emotionally. The Rams could easily play the waiting game. Why trade for him when the Dolphins have made it abundantly clear they're ready to move on? If Miami can't find a trade partner, releasing him becomes almost inevitable. But let's bring this right back home to Atlanta. Falcons fans, would you do it? Would you push the chips to the center of the table and make a move for Jalen Ramsey? Is that the final piece that takes this defense to the next level? Or does it create more problems than it solves, crowding a secondary that's already seen a flood of new faces this offseason? I need to hear from you in the comments right now. And let's be honest, this isn't just about football. It's about identity. It's about what kind of team Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot are building in Atlanta. Are we going all in for big names, proven stars like Jalen Ramsey, even if it means sacrificing development and opportunities for the young guys? Or are we committed to the long game, trusting our draft picks, betting on chemistry, and believing that the pieces we've assembled this offseason are enough to turn this team into a contender? Because let's not forget, the addition of Kirk Cousins changed everything for the Falcons' trajectory. This isn't a rebuilding team anymore. This is a team ready to win now. The offense looks ready to explode, but the defense still carries questions. Adding Ramsey would undoubtedly bring a swagger, a championship mentality, and a lockdown presence in the secondary that's hard to match. He's not just a corner, he's a tone setter, a leader, a player who forces offenses to change their entire game plan. But there's a flip side. What happens to guys like Dalford, Mike Hughes, Billy Bowman, and Xavier Watts? Do they suddenly become depth pieces? Do you risk stunting their growth for a 1 or 2 year rental of a superstar in his 30s? And even beyond that, how does this impact the locker room? Bringing in a player of Ramsey's magnitude can be galvanizing or disruptive, depending on the dynamics. And then there's the future to consider. The Falcons have already spent next year's first-round pick. They've already traded away their 5th-round pick to move up in the draft. How many more assets are you willing to give up? Because if the Dolphins want to trade, they're not letting Ramsey go for free. And if they release him, well, you're suddenly in a bidding war, and the Rams, with their history and Ramsey's connection to McVay, might have the inside track. So Falcons fans, this isn't just a football decision. It's a philosophical one. Are we the team that bets on star power, makes the aggressive move, and swings for the fences? Or are we the team that trusts the process, trusts the scouting department, and lets this young secondary grow together? Leave your opinion right now in the comments. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Go Falcons!